Welcome.
What it do? Welcome to the Other Coast Gaming Podcast. I am your co-host D-Train here with the homie, the brethren, the broham from another mama, Absolute Centron. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man?
Just living that life. Oh, the life that we live.
Yeah, it's funny. We're gonna do news today, but I've been sending Darius a lot of news, and it seems like just so fucking much news. But like, PAX East just happened, and PAX East is a big convention that one of the only big conventions that happened in East Coast, and a lot of news kind of came around that, where Google kind of went a little bit beforehand, then State of the Play happened with PlayStation, and then all the PAX East news and stuff like that. So this week is going to be a little bit longer for the news, but it's definitely going to be packed with a lot of stuff I think you guys will be excited about.
That's a fact. So let's get into the bag.
Yeah, without further ado, let's let the show begin. So let's start with State of the Play, right?
Yeah, we can start with that.
So overall, not to get into too many details, how'd you like it?
I thought it was really cool. It was short, which I appreciated. It didn't consume like a lot of time. They got to the point, and they got to the point quickly. It was, hey, we got this coming. Hey, since we got this coming, we got this coming. Hey, we got a whole bunch of shit coming in this time for what we'll get into in a minute. And here's another couple of things that we have to wrap it up. Boom.
So as a fan of just gaming, I see where you like it, but did you feel at any point disappointed because it was a lot of VR talk?
I didn't necessarily feel disappointed because with where the VR is at, it's destined for this. It's finally out there. It's finally accessible. People actually can play, can do different things with it. So now comes the influx of like excess games and like excess versions of things or like side versions of things with VR compatibility to give people who have bought that an added experience.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking, and we'll get into details about the show itself, but we do have to kind of address that a lot of PlayStation fans are not happy about it. Downvoted a shit ton on videos and stuff like that. A lot of people are just very disappointed by the announcements they got and with the VR focus and stuff like that. I fall in the same camp as you, where I just like video games. So a showcase of them just showing new games, you know, if you leave with I feel like if you leave with like 3 games that you were interested in and you want to know more about, it's worth your time. The only time, like we were talking with I forget our homie's name, was it PM controller or whatever, I forget his name. We were talking and he was saying that he felt like it was a huge disappointment and pointless, and I can totally understand what he meant. And he also mentioned, and I agree with him 100%, is that he said when they let me rewind that. They said during the show, like they kind of just said, this is State of Play, we're going to show a bunch of stuff out. Cool. They mentioned indies. They probably should have highlighted that it was going to be focused around VR a little bit more, in my opinion, because that would have tempered expectations. Whereas as someone who's just a PlayStation owner and necessarily doesn't own a VR, wouldn't just sit there and be like, damn, there's like 9 games of VR and like 2 to 3 that aren't VR.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that because they didn't give any notice, and it was just like, yeah, what's up, VR? Fuck y'all.
Yeah. I mean,
it was wild.
It was definitely 80% VR. Now, here's where I defend PlayStation a lot. One, people are way too harsh on this thing, and they forget about the dark times of Nintendo Directs where they were fucking terrible. Secondly, I remember very recently they did a Nintendo Direct where they talked about Smash the whole time, which I don't have a problem with. But if you didn't like Smash, you'd be pretty disappointed by that 80% of the show was about Smash and the rest of it was about other things. So I didn't see the backlash there. So to get the backlash here, it seems unjust to me. Also,
got him.
Also for me, like, you want to set the expectations of what a show like this is going to be. If they would have launched with like, and Death Stranding has a this, and this has a this, and this was like a mini PSX or E3, the next one, the same thing would have happened. The hype levels would have been fucking to the moon, and then it would have been like a traditional, you know, indie or just giving spotlight to smaller studios, and people would have been really pissed. So this is the first one. I think you should give them a little bit of time to get the formula down packed and give them time to grow and show stuff. But to me, pointless. At the end of the day, man, even if you don't have a VR, it's just cool to see fucking games. you know, and there's a lot of things I've never seen before, and I think that should be not so harshly criticized. It may have not been for you. Did I want more? Hell yeah, I want more.
Yeah, I agree. And just looking at Sony and just PlayStation and the business model, like they're trying to entice you to purchase a fucking VR. Like they want you to buy that to have access to that shit. They are trying to lead you to purchase that.
Here's another point that I think is very, very important, and we'll jump out of this because we're 5 minutes in and we haven't talked about shit. But when you're releasing something new, you don't want to abandon the other stuff that you've released previously too quickly. Okay? You want people to invest in you because they invest in that what they're going to buy, what peripheral, whether it's a VR headset, whether it's, you know, a fucking console, whatever it is, that you're going to support this for a long period of time and they don't feel like their money went to waste. Sony, and we're all Vita, you and me both have a Vita, we love our Vita. We know that Vita stopped getting supported by them for a very long time ago, and now they're just flat out trying to kill it.
Yeah, that's okay? A fact.
You don't want to go into another console saying, well, is Sony now going to abandon PSVR? And this is just another fucking peripheral that doesn't mean anything? You know, like, you don't want that. So it's good for them to show, hey, no, listen, we're still supporting VR. We still got PS4 titles on the way. And, you know, just hold on to your hats. So we're going to get fucking VR. We're going to get PS5 soon. They're not saying that, but we know it's coming. It was the same thing we talked about with Google, where it was important for the president to come out and do a presentation, not to jump. But it was important for that moment to happen. So they show them, hey, listen, I know we kind of abandoned a lot of products, but this one, we're all in. And I think those messages really are understated of how important they are. It gives the consumer a good amount of confidence that their money is going to be well spent, and it's going to be, you know, they're going to have enough support that they don't feel like they wasted their money. So that's all I got to say about that. But I think as an overall arc, leave them alone a little bit. Relax.
Cut them some slack.
So, looking
to get into VR.
Definitely. So, first game out of the rip, man. I was a little bit hyped. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they got into the bag off right in the gate. Like I was surprised that they just pow.
Yeah, and that kind of I was sitting there watching and I'm like, fuck, they're really starting with that. So if you don't know, they started with an Ironman VR trailer, and I was fucking shocked. Like when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, they're actually doing an Ironman VR. It's made by Camouflage Studios in conjunction with Marvel Games, and it puts people, you know, as Tony Stark, and they're, you know, Iron Man, they're flying through the sky and stuff. To me, watching the trailer, I almost wish they would have showed less or shown more, and I feel like the amount they showed wasn't good enough, because what happened was they showed the beginning, they should have stopped, because that was really cool, but then they started showing like a very brief glimpse of gameplay, and it looked like a rail shooter, which people are kind of like, meh, no one really wants that. You know what I mean? Like most people don't want that. So I don't know what the game's gameplay is. And now we have a negative association with the gameplay because you only showed us a very small amount. So to me, it should have either not shown any gameplay or shown more gameplay. But the amount that they picked, for me, left me a little bit underwhelmed with the whole presentation of that game. But still, man, it's fucking awesome. Like, I still can't say I'm not hyped for it, but I really want to know more, as opposed to I'm sold, I want it, just give it to me.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I seen they had like a little disclosure thing on the beginning that was like not actual gameplay that like slid across, so it was just like obviously like this is not the gameplay. So I kind of once I saw that, I went in tempered. It was really fucking awesome. Definitely not saying that it wasn't. That shit was dope. And to have Iron Man be the next superhero that gets a little bit of love out here, that's awesome. Iron Man never gets any love in the video game world. He should totally get some love.
Thanks.
So that's exciting. I don't have a VR, and it did entice me to want to get one,
or at least to know more about it, right?
Yeah, or at least to maybe inquire a little bit more heavily into it. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Really cool. Definitely check out that trailer. Oh, by the way, you mentioned it at the top of the show. So the whole presentation of State of the Play was 20 minutes. And it's just a press conference. We're going to put the link at the bottom in the description. Check it out. Really awesome. You're going to enjoy it. So the next thing that happened was they did a very short trailer of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which is coming out in June. I cannot fucking wait. It is June 21st, and basically they showed very briefly, it looked like a PlayStation exclusive feature the way it kind of presented to me, where it's going to allow you to pick the old graphics of the characters and stuff while they're still racing on the new updated maps and stuff. And now I say new and updated, I just mean like the graphics are updated and stuff like that. I think the maps traditionally are staying the same. I think the only thing that's really changing is the carts themselves. I think you can customize the carts. From what we know now, I'm sure there's still more to be announced. But that was just cool. That's a quick hit. They just kind of threw it out there. Hey, we're Sony. We're still having some part of exclusivity with, obviously our history of Crash Bandicoot and the Naughty Dog trilogy and stuff like that, or Naughty Dog development. So that was pretty cool. Next big update that they did was for No Man's Sky VR. So No Man's Sky is doing if you don't know what No Man's Sky is it's almost like you explore. I don't know how to really explain it, but you explore.
They called
worlds.
it the Infinite game at first.
Yeah, so pretty much you're an astronaut, let's say, and you explore worlds, and you can literally jump in your ship and go right up and go into space, and then go right down into a planet, and you can do a bunch of stuff in there. But they added a VR component to it, and everyone thought years ago, or a year ago, I think it was, when they released the game, that VR was going to be attached to it, and that's why it got delayed so much. But that definitely did not happen, and so this VR update is being added to it for free if you own the game, and that was the pushing point. I think I'm definitely going to pick up No Man's Sky.
That's a fact. Free 90 free, and it comes out this summer 2019 is what they're aiming for that shit, so it's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Like I said, we said it was free, so like fuck that. That's awesome. Ready Set Heroes was a dungeon crawler. 4 players. I mean, anytime we get some 4-player co-op, that is so underrated.
Yeah,
man.
local split screen.
Yeah. That's something that they just.
Once I heard them said that, I was like, ooh.
You have my attention. Well, because a lot of times, man, they've been, as the graphics have gotten more and more impressive, they've stepped back, and that sucks. I want more. I want them to continue doing split screen co-op, all that shit. We love that shit. Next thing was Five Nights at Freddy. Now, for me, I can give literally 2 shits about this in VR. However, I am not ignorant to how fucking popular that franchise is.
Right.
That dude, you go out on Halloween, you will see so many fucking kids wearing that stuff. You go to like Hot Topic and stuff, all the shirts and stuff like that. I know nothing about it, just that it's very popular and I see it all the time and it's really creepy. But that in VR.
Yeah, I never heard of that, or not necessarily never heard of it, but I've never watched it or never thought to look it up or anything like that. I'm not a scary guy. That's not me. But I do know that shit is huge. Like, I see that shit everywhere. I've seen mad pops about that shit. Everything. Yeah,
so that one, like, not for me, but really cool. And then the one game that now was like I was really, really intrigued about was they revealed a PlayStation 4 exclusive called Concrete Genie. And Concrete Genie was basically about a kid who's getting bullied, and he makes drawings in his notebook, and this kid basically throws his notebook over a bridge or something, and the drawings start to come to life, and he's basically going into the world to try to find his drawings, because his drawings have come to life in like this world. And to me, it's kind of like, it gave me like a real like Psychonauts feel mixed with, I don't know if you remember this really weird game called Contrast. It was one of the first free PlayStation games, and basically the reason I say it was like it reminded me of it is because you used to be able to go into like the foreground, like not even like, you would go into like the wall itself, and then you would walk along the wall, and then you'd be able to jump out of the wall and go back into the real world. This game seems to be playing with that type of dynamic where you're like running against something and you actually jump into that and then run along it. So the art style looks really fucking cool. I don't know price wise what it's going to come out as. I hope it's not like a $60 game, because I think that would be terrible to be priced that high. But very intrigued by it. And it's definitely one of those games I mentioned earlier that I didn't really know anything about it when I saw it, and as I saw it, I'm like, this is really fucking cool. I definitely want to know more about that. No additional information has been shared as far as release date or anything like that.
The only thing I saw was like later 2019, but
most of them said 2019. I don't think anything was.
I don't know how guaranteed that is, but
it's a small studio too, so who knows?
Yeah.
Days Gone did a story trailer. I have nothing to add to that because I don't watch anything for Days Gone anymore. I skip over everything because I'm gonna buy that game. So everything I see more is just spoiler shit that I'm gonna ruin for myself when I play it. So if you have anything to add to that, I saw nothing.
I
skipped over literally.
It was like a really good trailer, man. Yeah, I won't get into the details because you're a spoiler guy and we're not spoiler people. So I'll leave that to you to see once it comes out. It comes out on my birthday, April 26th. Shout out to the boy.
Give yourself a little gunshot air horn.
About to be 29. You heard? Yeah, it was. So me as a person, I had no idea what Days Gone was even gonna be. I saw nothing prior to this trailer. This was actually the first trailer that I had seen of Days Gone. And I saw it. That shit just looks different. It looks different. That's all I'll say.
At all or no?
They did show a little bit of gameplay. Yeah. They showed throwing of like a little bit of Molotov. So he had like a Molotov cocktail he threw on some zombie shits or whatever.
I think they're called freakers.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because a lot of people are shitting on them like they're fucking zombies. But the thing I was seeing was they're not zombies, so you don't have to shoot them in the head. You can actually shoot them in like their chest and stuff and they'll bleed out. They're not zombies, so you can kill them in different ways, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they showed you riding the motorcycle and you being able to bust some shit off on the motorcycle too, which I thought was cool.
The motorcycle is like a character in this game. It's almost like, like you're going to upgrade it. A lot of it resolves around like fuel and stuff like that, how far you can get, supplies, stuff like that. So the motorcycle is very, 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 very important.
Yeah, and it just looked fun. That guy, they could have made that guy fucking Daryl from...
Well, that main guy, fun fact about this, I've learned very recently. So for all my Star Wars fans out there, the main character of this game is is Star Killer from the old Force Unleashed games. He's the main character of that. I had never seen that shit before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that before. So I was like, wow, that's really fucking cool. I didn't know that was Star Killer. So I was fucking hyped when I saw that because I knew he looked familiar, but I couldn't figure out what the fuck I've seen him before.
Yeah.
So,
they made it, they laid the foundation for the dual battle, the you versus enemies, you versus yourself internally.
I'm fucking
thing. Like that shit looked fucking really good.
I'm fucking hyped, bro. I've been hyped about that game for a little bit, and I'm fucking all for it, son. All for it. Now, here was the one that my older brother and me got in a massive argument about because I hate these old motherfuckers, and it's Mortal Kombat. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this short because I don't want to get into too much shit. But I cannot stand when people want the same thing over and over and over again. I just don't get it. Like, you know how there was a hip-hop influence in this trailer, right?
That shit was hard.
By the way, yeah, let's cut that right off. That shit was fucking hard, all right? Got a little salt and pepper, got a little fucking Vince Staples.
Ice Cube, like, bruh.
All fucking in. So, my brother's like, that's not what Mortal Kombat's about. Blase, blah. Okay, well, let me tell you what. If we kept on getting the same Mortal Kombat games over and over and over again, Mortal Kombat wouldn't be around anymore. Sorry to tell you guys this. This is a fucking fact, okay? Years ago, Mortal Kombat was not doing well, okay? Fighting games, the genre, was not doing well. NetherRealm deserves a lot of credit for bringing back fighting games. People don't want to talk about it. They're the ones who did it. In my opinion, I remember being a fighting game fan and not seeing fighting games get the representation that they deserved. And I remember when it was Mortal Kombat versus DC, and people fucking snapped on the internet. Okay, snap. This is what Mortal Kombat is about. There's not even fatalities. Blah 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 blah. Guess what happened? You wouldn't have Injustice without that game. In my opinion, you wouldn't have the renaissance of fucking Mortal Kombat, literally putting the fighting game community on its back and bringing it back to the main front of like people who don't play video games know about Mortal Kombat. They see the trailers, they buy the games. My little cousin doesn't plays fucking Fortnite and 2K, but he'll go pick up Mortal Kombat. He knows he's about it. The reason that it's able to reach this wider audience is because they have to change certain things. Okay, they put a little bit of hip hop in their trailer. That doesn't make the mechanics of the game change. That doesn't make the stuff that you love, the story, the violence, all that stuff. Nothing is going to change from that just because they want to make the marketing aspect of it appeal to more people. And people really need to get over that. We have an attachment to things, whether it's artists or whether it's video games. It's okay for things to change.
Bro, if anything, the mechanics are better. we're so much farther in.
Yeah.
It's 11. It's the 11th Mortal Kombat.
I know. And you want to do the same game 11 times? Like, I don't.
Come on.
I want a game to have the essence of the game. Like, for example, like if I wanted to feel like a Mortal Kombat game, they can change some stuff around, but it needs to feel like a Mortal Kombat game. Like we talked with Kingdom Hearts. Like Kingdom Hearts changed a bunch of stuff, right? Cool. But it still felt like a Kingdom Hearts game. Star Wars films, I want them to have that Star Wars feel. You can change some stuff, but it needs to have Star Wars at the heart of it. So I don't mean to get into a long rant about that. That's as far as I'm going to cut it from. But the Mortal Kombat trailer to me was fucking awesome. One of my favorite trailers I've ever seen of Mortal Kombat.
I agree with that 100%.
And I'm all for you guys doing whatever you got to do to sell copies. Because
shout out to Vince fucking Staples.
Shout out
on
to
the Mortal Kombat tip.
Yeah.
Real nigga shit.
But yeah. So I think that was the end of State of the Play. They're supposed to be doing more of them as the time goes on, so definitely check back. And when they'll do that, we'll be the first ones to tell you about it because we fucking love that shit.
Yeah, Sony, that was dope. 20 minutes, keep it around that. Let us know if you're going to be centric on a certain thing for the presentation.
Oh, I'm sure they heard.
That would be ideal. This way, give people the opportunity to know what they're going into, kind of expecting. Like if you would have said this was going to be focused on VR, that wouldn't have been a lie. Or a stretch of the truth or anything.
Yeah, no, all for that. So moving right along, they did an announcement for Persona 5, and let me tell you, I don't like Japanese studios doing stupid Japanese shit where they don't explain stuff and they do like little teaser things and they allow expectations. Like this is the exact same thing with Sony where sometimes just say a little bit or don't gas something up too much because the expectations get out of hand and then you end up under delivering. So Persona 5 is getting a Royal Edition where they're going to add a bunch of stuff. But they got people all excited for this and they released almost no information. They showed the trailer, and the trailer was basically a girl with red hair in the rain in the Shibuya district, which is definitely wrong. Sorry about that. Followed by the logo. And that was it. So we're supposed to wait till April to get more information.
April 24th too, not even like the beginning.
Yeah, which is terrible. So like that's really upsetting for me personally. I was really, really fucking hoping that this is going to be where they're going to mention Switch. So for me, what I'm thinking, I was talking with one of the homies on Twitter, and I'm like, I'm almost ready to give up on my Persona 5 Switch release because I really think if it's not coming this year, it's not going to happen. And I see this Royal Edition and I go, okay, so this Royal Edition is going to be a PlayStation exclusive. So maybe the reason that they're doing this as a PlayStation 4 exclusive is for PlayStation to allow them to port this now over to Switch and maybe other consoles, right? Because they had an exclusive deal with them for Persona 5. So maybe that's their way of saying, hey, listen, we'll give you the fucking Game of the Year edition that has mad stuff that people are going to want. And let us just port this shit over here. So that's what I'm hoping. That's like, what I'm really, really hoping for. But Joker's supposed to be released this month. So if you're not going to release Persona 5 on the Switch after you're putting Joker into Smash Brothers,
Did they do Persona 4 on Switch already?
No.
No?
No. They did they've done like 3DS games like Persona 4 Q or something like that, but they've never done Persona 4. Persona 4 only was on it was a PS2 game, then they ported it over into a Vita game, and that's where they got Persona 4 Golden. Was like the same type of deal where it was like a better version.
Oh, like a
I
Royal
never played
Edition.
the originals, so my first Persona was actually Persona 4 on the Vita, which go on to be one of my favorite games of all time. So go out for that. A couple quick hits. So this guy, Ryan McCaffrey from IGN, is doing these fucking awesome interviews with people. And they did an interview with Amy Henning. She was the person who was originally one of the creators of the Uncharted franchise and was one of the directors or something like that. And she's just like super important, and most of Uncharted would not have happened without her. She was talking about her Star Wars game. The way she was talking about that game was like how she was trying to make the game feel like a Star Wars. That feeling I mentioned earlier was really awesome, and I can't do it justice, but I just wanted to use this second as a quick hit just to tell you guys, go look it up. We'll put the link in the description. Really, really fucking cool conversation with her. And I love that series. That was the one, if you remember a couple episodes ago, we mentioned Halo was almost made by Gearbox. That was from an interview that he did with someone else. So like he's getting a lot of really get these people to really talk freely and getting a lot of like interesting history information. And I really am enjoying them.
Good shit, Ryan. Moving right along. Coming April 1st, 2019. Sony is dubbing y'all with the digital download at GameStop for whole games only.
I think that's a lot of them too. I don't think it's just them. I know that was like the headline, but I think it's more than just them, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so whole games no longer going to be able to be purchased through any. Well, I won't say any third party just yet until I get more word.
It said stop providing retailers digital download codes.
Mm-hmm.
They specifically said retailers. So to me, that would mean everyone. I don't know if that's to be true, but that's if you're saying retailers and you didn't like, what do you classify Walmart as?
That's true.
Or Best Buy. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was clickbait to put GameStop because everyone wants to see GameStop fail, which y'all are gonna miss GameStop when they're gone. I'm telling you, gonna miss them.
But nevertheless, digital codes cut at retailers, as Centron was saying. You'll still be able to get your DLCs, add-ons, virtual currencies, season passes, all that extra side shit. But as far as getting a digital version of a game from there, it's a dub.
So yeah, we put this on the docket because I really, we don't have to spend too much time on it, but it is a little weird where everyone is trying to get more people to talk about digital and streaming and not owning a physical copy of something, and it seems like PlayStation is going the literally opposite direction. And with the whole future of streaming technology and all this stuff, Xbox Play Anywhere, all this stuff coming out, it's very interesting to see Sony make a move like that. And it's one of the first moves where I'm like, I hope I'm not looking into it because that's seeming a little weird. Just the timing of it just seems very odd to me.
I hear that. That's a little strange. They did say that they were going to let you get, if you pre-order Days Gone or Mortal Kombat 11, they did say that they were going to give up digital codes for those two games, even though they're released in later April. But after those two games, it's
I wonder how many people already bought those games, so they can't really
them. Yeah, so
I mean?
It's just like, how could you stop that at that point? But
especially if they already fucking purchased it too.
Yeah, that's So here's my thing with like digital download. I like digital download because it's at least associated with my profile. So I could carry that profile to another console or whatever, and all the games that I downloaded digitally, I'll still have those games. Yeah, I think that's cool. But
that's not true. Just so you know that. Like, let's say, and this is why streaming is very important. So let's say you buy a game, you bought Xenoverse 2 online, right? And they shut down the servers on that game. Your dubs. It's an online game. I mean, you may be able to play it offline, but if it's like a game that's 100% multiplayer focused, you can't play that game anymore. So that's why digital is so confusing and it's very like weird. Right. Now, here's another thing I want to say. So let's say that you buy a PS4 and then you buy a PS5. There is absolutely no fucking guarantee that that game will work in that system. Like, you know how many times I buy movies on PlayStation and I can't watch them on my PlayStation 3 even though it's the same PlayStation store? So there's a big problem in Nintendo is the absolute fucking worst of that, where if you bought mad games on the Wii or bought mad games on the Wii U, every single fucking generation you had to rebuy the same Mario 3 or whatever the fuck you're gonna play. So it's good to have a digital library, but there's no guarantee for that digital library because they can just pull the fucking game unless you have it downloaded. Like, for example, like we have PT on our hard drives. Cool. Good luck trying to re-download that.
That's a fact.
So that's like a caveat that people should kind of be aware of. There's a huge risk of buying a game digitally. They could literally pull the fucking game from the shop and you could delete it and not own it anymore.
And they're selling you on convenience and
on nothing though. You don't own anything. It's not yours.
You don't own it. But it's just so convenient to be able to just download it right to your console and start playing. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you bought a game and played it day one because you started downloading it the night before and the next morning it just was done and now you're playing?
No.
But I'm definitely with the physical generation, I fall towards that. I think I'm not with streaming and all that shit. We'll probably get into that in a minute, but
it's just an interesting time.
I'm a dinosaur when it comes to that.
A lot of people are moving towards digital, and that's where gaming's moving to. And you're seeing it in general, not even gaming too, because like CDs don't exist anymore. And then like now vinyls are like the collector's editions of things.
Factuals.
So it's everything is moving towards that digital space, and there's people like us who grew up with both that were like, yeah, we like digital sometimes, but you know what, fuck it, we want physical. So
as you were saying on Twitter, there's nothing like a fucking steel case with an awesome cover or something like that. Just
even like Nintendo first parties, man. Like, dude, you know how much I miss a fucking gaming manual? I miss that. I used to fucking open up the boxes and read all this shit. Dude, you open up some of these things, there's just literally nothing in them.
I remember they used to give you like a how to play. Fucking these are the controls.
Sometimes they give you stickers or cool shit. Like, they give nothing now. It's terrible. Switch does a cool thing where you can flip out the inside of the cases. Oh, excuse me. So you get a different, like, you can flip the case inside out and you'll get a different cover for it. And I think that's cool. It's just a cool little feature that they do, and I'm all for it.
You might as well do something to spice it up if you guys are already paying money for the case and the flyer as a whole.
Well, that's their philosophy on the flip side of that. Let's put absolutely nothing in it to make it as cheap as possible. Suckers. So Gwent is coming to smartphones.
Ooh, I saw that, and I saw, which I knew you were probably sick, it was fucking iPhones first, and then Android announced at a later date.
That is a fact. I was very pissed at that, actually. I'm like, you fucking bastards. Like, because I want to play that game on a phone. And supposedly, so if you don't know what Gwent is a card-based game from the Witcher series. And it was so fucking addicting. It was unbelievably addicting. To the point, like, I went around everywhere just looking for cards. I battled people constantly. Like, I did so much stuff. And supposedly they made a standalone game about it, which I thought was really, really cool. And then midway through, they realized that they were too ambitious for the game, and they actually pulled back where it was supposed to come out at a certain point, and they stopped that. We're not going to release it then. They pulled it back, and now they're re-releasing it with, I think there's like a story campaign. There's like tons of shit in that game. But yeah, they're bringing it to phones, which I think is like absolutely perfect. You totally hit the nail on the head. I'm super disappointed that it's not coming to Android until later.
It's perfect for the phone, and I knew you'd be fucking tight about that. Like, I saw that and I was like, ooh, Centron's gonna fucking
one fucking card game I want to play.
The one thing, like, no Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon shit, but fucking the one card game.
That Dragon Ball Legends, but motherfucking bastards. I was so pissed. But yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely let you guys know as soon as we fucking hear about that, because I'm all in.
Final Fantasy 15 episode Ardyn just came out. I forget the actual release date, but it is available now. Is that correct, Centron?
Totally correct. Out right now.
Details the backstory of Ardyn, obviously the villain of the game, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you guys check that shit out.
It's a little bit sad.
That's the final thing that they're doing for Final Fantasy 15. As of this completion, it is a wrap.
And I heard it's very, very good. I have not personally played it. It's one of those things that I almost don't want to play because I don't want it to end. I don't want it to be over because I love that game so much. And even though, I had a really bad launch, and it just, there was a lot of things I wasn't happy with towards the end of the game, and, how they didn't, it was clear that they didn't have enough time to really put into, making all the characters playable at launch, that you could switch between each person, all those little DLCs, they were major parts cut from the game that you had to buy extra. So that always rubbed me the wrong way. But to me, once at the end of the whole entire experience, that game was really one of the best Final Fantasy games for me. Like definitely one of my favorites, and I enjoyed it so much. And I hope that I hope they understand the criticisms, because a lot of the criticisms are very valid. Like the fact that you guys had to redo pretty much the last beginning level of the game. It's unacceptable. It's not. You don't want to end on a bad note. You want to end on the highest note possible. That's the way you're supposed to do things. But Ardyn is, and like for me, Ardyn is one of the most interesting fucking villains ever in Final Fantasy at all. Like flat out, point blank, he's one of the most interesting villains, and they took, once again, a DLC to fully explain how awesome he fucking was. And they should have done that in the main game. And we're never going to get Luna Freya. which is depressing because I don't really like her as a character. And from what I've heard about her, like, she's super interesting. It's just for me, like, this would have really, really helped me. You know, it would have went into, and I heard this story, like, or no, her story would have went into, like, what happened with her brother. And her brother was very interesting once again, but they just did a terrible job in the main story explaining some of these characters. So all in all, this is the last DLC. It's $10. Play it. You know, if you don't want to get it right now, it will go on sale. I've seen all these things discount all to be hell. But yeah, it's out there for you guys.
Yeah, and to transition from that releasing, now that it has released, the studio, Luminous Productions, that old Tabata made before he dipped out, skis, is going to start working on the next AAA game for Final Fantasy.
Which is the first confirmation that they're making another Final Fantasy. I mean, you're stupid if you didn't think they were going to do another Final Fantasy. And I also don't think that this is the first step into that. I think you're going to get some type of news soon.
Think so?
I think you're going to get news this year.
They're definitely going PS5. This is going to be a PS5
that's what I was
game.
Just going to say, one or two things is going to happen. If they're releasing it this year, or if it's going to be a PS4 game, they're going to talk about it now. If you don't hear anything about this game this year, best believe Final Fantasy, the next one, is coming out for PS5 or Xbox One 2 as soon as the new consoles launch. Like, it's either going to be, or they might do both, which I would recommend. But they've been quiet for too long, and I know they don't have the full studio team making these games, these little DLC things. There's no fucking way. So it's coming. I think it's coming. We'll see if I'm right.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I was leaning towards the PS5 window for that as well, but we will see. We will see.
So on April 2nd, they are releasing the new PlayStation Plus free games, and they're doing a game called The Surge, which I know nothing about. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And
yeah, when I seen the lineup for this month, I was kind of...
Conan Exiles was really cool.
Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, it looked cool. It was definitely something I always wanted to, like, fuck around with. So probably PlayStation Plus will be perfect for that. So if you don't know about PlayStation Plus, or you have a PlayStation and you're not using it, you are silly. You can literally go into your library or go into the PlayStation Store, click the library button, right? It will add it to your library. You do not have to download anything. You do not have to do anything to it. And if you ever were to want to play a new game, let's say you didn't have any new games to play, you go through your library, you'll have a ton of fucking games that are at your disposal that you can easily just click, download, and start playing right then and there. So definitely take advantage of the services that you get for playing for your subscription.
Another one.
That's a fact. PS Plus, last month, actually, you guys have until, today is March 31st, you guys have until April 2nd for this to happen. Modern Warfare Remastered is one of the games right now, along with something else that just slipped my mind.
The Witness. The Witness is a really, really fantastic puzzle game. I am not smart enough to do games like that, but I respect those games. So kudos to them.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's dope.
So, really, really quick hit. Cyberpunk is talking about E3, and they said this E3 is the most important one for them. So they said, we have really prepared a strong show, and they said that this is the most important one ever. Mainly because that, I'll read the exact quote from them from IGN. Last year's E3 has been the most important one far throughout the whole CD Projekt's history, but this year is going to be the most important one ever for us.
Why you always lying?
We have really prepared a strong show. Now, they're pushing too to release this game by 2021. So, and there's supposed to be another game in development in adjacent to this. So,
I don't like when people do that.
Well, okay. To defend that, and I agree with you, I understand why. Last of Us 2 was that, Last of Us 1. Apologize. Uncharted team, after Uncharted 2 split into two teams, Uncharted 3 was released, and then shortly after that, Last of Us was released. Those are two separate studios, or two separate teams that made those games.
But that was like a sub of Naughty Dog, right? Isn't that who makes
Yeah, but that's the same thing. That's the same difference from here. CD Projekt Red is the studio, and they're splitting their teams to make both games. So I understand where you would be skeptical of it, but there's been occasions where it worked.
Do you know any games that they have made, like, just off the top?
CD Projekt Red, no, they're pretty much Witcher.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's a strong.
Yeah, when you make Witcher, it's like, well, we just make Grand Theft Auto games. Like, well, it's good.
Yeah, that's a strong, strong showcase. All right, you guys could do that. You could give it a shot.
That is seriously, there's games for me that I call out of work for, and there's games that I schedule my work off of, and maybe even schedule a vacation around. When that game fucking drops, you're not gonna see me, like, at all. I'm gone. I'm in the dungeon.
Here we go.
Can't fucking wait. Another quick hit, Dreams. And if you don't know Dreams is a PS or Sony exclusive. It is made by Media Molecule, and Media Molecule,
dope name,
fucking awesome name. Media Molecule has made games like Tearaway, Little Big Planet. Very, very creative studio, and very.
That's
very
why
well
this
known.
looked like that. I was like, damn, this shit looks like mad familiar looking.
Yeah, they're a great studio, and this is a game that they're really super proud of. And I don't know if you guys have seen on the internet, but if you haven't, look them up. They did like a beta for this game, and the creators went fucking nuts. I mean, they're recreating Dead Space in this fucking pulling sounds from the game, putting it into the Dreams game, and you're looking at it, you're like, that's fucking Dead Space. They went hard, and when you give like creative people these types of tools, they're gonna make amazing content for you. So basically, what they're doing is they're doing an early access form, and it begins in spring 2019. It will cost $30. When you buy that, you will get. Now, I don't know how it breaks down, whether you get the full game or you have to pay the difference between the two, but you're basically paying for early access, and it won't have like the campaign around it. They talked that early access release date will begin April 16th, and it's just people have been really waiting on it. Media Molecule is one of the Sony's, big
Best named studios.
Yeah, people really like him. Yeah, people really like them, and they're excited about it. And it's definitely something that I'm super. It's one of those games for me. Early access won't do anything for me because I'm not creative enough to build this shit. But when they actually release the full game and I can play it and play what people create, it's gonna be pretty cool. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm not the creative type either, but it is cool that you'll be able to like kind of like remix a nigga shit.
I just can't wait to give these tools to the creators, man. They're gonna go fuck, and not even they already went hard, and they didn't even get the full access. Wait till they get the fucking open range to do whatever they want. You're gonna see absolutely amazing shit coming out of there. There's a big expression of a lot of people add shit to games just to add shit. It's padding, and they do that because they want to say our game is X amount of hours long. There's certain phrases as players that you guys should realize that are just bullshit. Okay, one thing is hours in a game. Hours does not mean quality, does not mean worth. Okay, you can have a 5-hour game that could fucking change your life, or you can have a 50, 100-hour game that 80% of it was fucking just useless fetch quests. Okay, how long a game is doesn't represent the value that game has at all. And that's something that our industry has a problem with. A game has to be this long in order to justify your money to it, which is not the way it should be. It should be, I had so much fucking fun and I enjoyed this thing so much that was the reason it was worth that amount of money. And that's something that we really got to, as people, focus on and try to not push them to it. Because another phrase, this is another one you'll hear a lot, guys. This world is X times bigger than the last world. My response to that will be, how fucking interesting is the world? If it's a bunch of fucking sand, who gives a shit if it's 4 times as big? There's nothing in it that's interesting. That's why Witcher was such an amazing game. It was a huge ass game, a huge ass world, but every side quest was very meaningful. And not everyone, there were some that weren't, but most of them were very meaningful and very important. They had quality and quantity, as opposed to people have a lot of quantity but not a lot of quality. And that's the problem that I have a lot of times with the way we judge games and the way things are worth something. Dude, let me tell you, I played Messenger. Messenger was $20, and I got it on sale. One of my favorite games of all time, bar none. But
I don't know if y'all heard that. Quality over quantity.
That's all we want, man. They gotta stop with this. We have all these fighters, right? Cool, you have all these fighters. Are they all reskins of the same fucking fighter? Then that doesn't mean it's worth it.
Your 5th, 8th Goku.
In their defense, they are very different characters and they play differently. But
So you shooting them bail?
I'm shooting a little bit of bail because yeah, you know, I'm just gonna walk off. Like, there's a big thing of Sekiro where they feel like those games need to have an easy mode into them.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah. So I'm very conflicted by that because while I agree with them, I feel like those developers wanted to make that type of game, and I feel like you should let them make that type of game. On the flip side of that, the biggest problem of our industry is that we're not finishing games. So all these developers are spending all this time to make these games, and so many percentage of people just don't finish them. So a good way to help people finish them is make them a little bit easier. However, those studios shouldn't be pressured to bending to the will of a few, because they shouldn't compromise their vision to make more people play, in my opinion. They should make the game that they want to play, and if it means that their audience isn't as big as a Call of Duty, that's okay, because that's the vision that they wanted to make. That's the game they wanted to make. That's the vision they had for their game. So I don't know. People are kind of conflicted about that. I'm in the boat of why not just do both?
If you can make it hard, you might as well dumb it down.
Well, make it and
get
like,
more people to buy your shit.
To me, it would be funny, and I don't.
That's just marketing, I feel like.
I don't think they would do this, but to me, it'd be very funny. Make an easy mode, but make it so they have to wear something stupid or something. That would be funny for me. Like, you have to wear a baby uniform. You have to have a bib. Like, you have to. Nope, you're on baby mode. You gotta.
That'd be kind of fucked up, but that would be kind of funny.
Hey, man, you want to get good? Play normal. You can take away the bib.
It's up to you.
Call it how you see it.
I'll let you decide, baby.
Because let me tell you, I don't care how fucking hard a game is. I'm not wearing a fucking bib. I will die at that boss 400 times before I allow that shit to happen. So,
I don't wear a bib. I don't give a fuck.
Right, but hey, at least you're able to experience it. And you know what? Maybe you're able to experience it in a lighter pressure, and then it makes you go, you know what? I enjoyed that game so much. Maybe I do want to increase the difficulty a little bit. Nothing wrong with including people, but also don't pressure developers to doing something that they don't want to do because you guys won't shut the fuck up.
Yo, just as a side note, I seen like a gameplay of that Sekiro game, and fucking this guy was fighting this crazy looking monster. That shit look fucking nuts.
Well, that's a good segue. So we're going to be doing, this was our news segment. So once again, thank you so much for listening. And we really want to know, as far as our comments, we want to know what you guys thought about the state of the play. What you thought of state of the play. Did you feel underwhelmed by Borderlands 3? And also, and the most importantly, are you getting Days Gone or Mortal Kombat? Which one are you guys picking up? I want to know. But next week, or even this week, we're going to try to do what we've been playing. And I have been playing Sekiro. We should have Yoshi's World by then, Yoshi's Crafted World. And we should have more Division talk for you guys. But what... just a little insight of what we're trying to do here is when we do what we're playing, we're trying to give you guys gameplay on top of our discussions, where stuff like this is going to be more of our news, happens every single week, and we just give you pictures and stuff like that, and then we give you links so you can explore on the stuff that you found interesting from what we're talking about. But when we do the gameplay, it takes a little bit more time for us to obviously record it and edit it and stuff like that. So bear with us. We'll definitely have another video up, and we're going to be going over, like I said, a few big titles that recently came out. So if you have anything else, D-Train, I think we're good.
I think we are good. Yo, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. It's really important for us. If y'all could show us a little bit of love, that would be dope. Hit the bell and I'll let you know when we got new videos posted. Hit us up on Twitter at @the_other coast. You know how we rocking over here. It's the other coast, bitches.
It's the other coast.